drop down. Microphone. And say okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Any better for our listeners at home?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that I know.
It's the same one every time. There's a sheet there I'll show you with the.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Just 'cause we had to
type
help.
this in big font and stick.
Yeah, it's just,
It's good.
I don't know why it switches off, but
just the output has to be switched on the screen, yeah. I'm gonna start all over. No, I'm not. So, for the people who can now hear us, I'm not Dante. Dante had a family emergency early this morning. Mike is joining us by phone. We had no open to the public comments. Congratulated the 8th graders on graduating. And then you did have a $170,000 grant that came in from the state that we're going to use to repair our municipal building ramp and stairs at no cost to the town. So that's the big one. I discussed the border roads. Moving on to the next one, the state plan for the cross acceptance negotiation sessions for Hunterdon County. There's a state planning commission. They're going to have negotiation sessions for us. The link is on the agenda if you want to access this and see those negotiations. And to find out more information from the Office of Planning and Advocacy, there's a link at the bottom if you want to learn about it. And then in regards to, I'm going to clump these two together, the website upgrade, we applied for a grant from the county to update our website. And then there was another grant that we applied for in regards to affordable housing. And that grant is to request money so that we can do research in regards to affordable housing, and how that can help, how we can have affordable housing that meets the character of our community. So we were just looking to do a ratification of those grants that we applied for.
Yeah, and that grant for affordable housing can give us money for, both for staff, they'll pay for staff, they will give us training for staff, and they'll help with pre-development costs with engineers and planners to get the projects moving. And they have a special project for the accessory units, which would be a better fit for us. And they also have a lot of funding for if you work with a nonprofit developer. So it actually gives, there's a lot of money that they want to give away to municipalities for the options that would fit best in East Amwell.
Okay, great.
So we're hoping that
Yeah.
works out for us.
I hope so too. That's great. Thanks.
That's good.
Yeah, thanks, Bev. And thanks for all the work you do on affordable housing, because it's a lot. Any other special discussions or acknowledgements? I missed? Okay. Moving on to standing committee appointments. We're going to appoint Kevin Gable to the Ringgold Advisory Committee with an unexpired term of 12/31/2027. Can I have a motion to confirm him?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Moving on to ordinance 2513. Linda, can you please read by title?
capital ordinance providing for various 2025 general capital improvements by and in the Township of East Amwell in the County of Hunterdon, State of New Jersey, appropriating $12,000 therefore from the Capital Improvement Fund to pay for the cost thereof.
So this ordinance is pretty self-explanatory. It's to replace the truck body of one of our township dump trucks. I guess the truck's in good condition, but we gotta replace the body. So the meeting is now open to the public for this ordinance only. If anybody would like to speak on this ordinance. Seeing no one, I'm gonna close without objection. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2513?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Casper Bloom?
Yes.
Ms. Enton?
Yes.
Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Mr. Dendis?
Yes.
For ordinance 2514, Linda, can you please read by title?
Capital ordinance providing for various 2025 general capital improvements by and in the Township of East Amwell in the County of Hunterdon, State of New Jersey, appropriating $23,000 therefore from the Capital Improvement Fund to pay for the cost thereof.
So this is, again, self-explanatory. It's an ordinance to replace our computer equipment So the meeting is now open to the public for this ordinance only. Seeing no members to the public, I'm gonna close without objection. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2514?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Casper
Aye.
Bloom?
Yes.
Ms. Enton?
Aye.
Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Mr. Dendis?
Yes.
Ordinance 2515, this is a first reading. Linda, can you please read by title?
An ordinance amending various sections of the Code of East Amwell Township to permit cottage food operators in the township.
So we have Chair Emily Deadweiler here, if she would like to speak briefly about the ordinance.
Which of these?
Podium?
Whichever you want.
Either's fine.
Al knows about this ordinance.
I
So the background, just a little background on this. Was it 2020, so 5 years ago? 5 years ago, New Jersey was the last state in the nation, I think, to adopt a cottage food law that allows cottage food. And we've had multiple residents come to this body and to the planning board saying, you know, they would like to start a cottage food business, and but they need basically one of the provisions of the laws, and they have to abide by the laws of the municipality. So thus we went down the path of looking into whether we, you know, whether we should have a cottage food ordinance, whether we should permit cottage foods, and if yes, what limitations. So the law itself, the New Jersey's law, limits the sales to 50K. So basically cottage food means, you know, baking candies and cookies at home. Not just that, it's non-temperature controlled foods. And there's there's an actual list of items that are allowed in the New Jersey law. So limited to 50K in revenue, they must be sold directly to consumers from the baker's home, delivered to consumers or at farmers markets and similar venues. So no wholesale, no internet, no big business, little business. Unlimited to specific type of food, requires a permit from the state. It's if they get a permit and then renewed every couple of years, and notably must follow the rules of the municipality. So then we went down the path of having the conversation at the planning board level. Should we adopt a cottage food ordinance, and especially given some of the limitations we have here with water and septic. It was the opinion of the board that it would make sense with certain protections. So this ordinance was written with the input of the board. Also, we looked at other municipalities. We looked at what Lambertville did. We looked at what Hopewell did. Mostly to see what kind of language they had in there, what kind of limitations they had. And we came up with sort of, you know, it's permitted as an accessory use to a residence. So it can't be an accessory use to a business, it has to be to a residence. And they must, you know, make sure, respect and maintain the overall nature of, you know, it's a neighborhood and cannot impede on the neighbor's ability to enjoy their property. And that's a catch-all that we put in there. They must have a license. There's a limit on septic, not to exceed the capacity of the septic system, and a limit on water, no more than 20% increase in current use. I had a long conversation with Tracy Carluccio on this to make sure that she was comfortable with this was, you know, sort of normal. Everyone agrees, especially on the water, like where no one's measuring the water, but it gives you some parameters if there's a problem. We also, you know, her quote, I think, was, don't want to be looking for a solution, you know, problem in search, was it a problem in search of a solution, or a solution in search of a problem? We didn't want to go overboard on this. Limits on delivery, no large trucks, limit on the hours that deliveries can be made, and notably no non-resident employees. So you can't, it's really baking at home yourself, other people that live there, you know, your kids over the summer. And then it's also subject to the inspection by the zoning officer or the health officer. Doesn't need inspection, notably. In fact, the New Jersey law is clear on that, but if there's an issue, they can go in and do an inspection. They do not, in East Amwell, require a Board of Health approval, except if they'll be selling within Hunterdon County, like a market, a farmer's market or something. And that has something to do with it's actually a county rule. Our Board of Health works with the county, so that's something that will, it's not in the ordinance, but it will be written up, so that, anyway, those are the limits, that's sort of overall the ordinance. The process will be, if this is adopted, they'll apply to the zoning officer, they will, you know, she be a one piece of paper, sort of, they can, attesting to follow these rules, basically self-certify. And then if the Board of Health is license is needed, she can refer them to the Board of Health, or we'll have another form that they can fill out. So we're trying to make it small government, but let people do what they need to do. So that's kind of, that's the gist of it.
Yeah, well, thank you for all the work you've done on that, and Tracy and the Board of Health, because as you said, we've had people come in and asking.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it until people came in and
Yes.
started asking about it, but it's very important.
And by the way, she knew about it, and they had adopted an ordinance multiple years ago. So they had just, yeah, hats off to the Board of Health, they had it together.
Oh, good, okay. I did want to make amendment to the ordinance to include, it's kind of minor, but I wrote it down somewhere. Basically saying that there will be, that the people running the cottage farms will have no unusual odor, noise, or vibration that would bother their residents. So I want to make an amendment to
I would
that.
think that what they said is to put that in there, we could put it in with all the there's a place where there's many conditions
Yeah.
enumerated.
Yeah.
We can certainly add that as a condition.
Okay, yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, it's a good.
Someone suggested that to me, that was a good idea, so.
Yeah, and I like that it had in there, the minimum on traffic also.
Yes, it
That
did,
it
yeah.
was, you know, one car.
Yeah.
Was it-
Yeah, and again, we were like, no one's gonna stand there, but if there's a problem,
Right.
it's a zoning officer
Yeah.
something to point to, and, you know, also, like, make sure there's not a lot of traffic, you know.
10 cars in front of a house
Exactly.
picking up cookies.
I'm thinking if they're doing that great of a business, they can get a commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
Kudos to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple, like, as people were coming in, asking us about it, and then we sent it to planning board, you know, a lot of those issues were coming up, and it's like, everything that I heard people ask about, it looks like you guys covered. Great job.
Yep, great
Yeah,
job.
thank you.
It's very
There's a lot of
comprehensive,
people-
and you
lot of
put
people know
some
weather
good
wise.
restrictions in
Yes.
there.
Control C, control, no.
Yeah, no, it's good.
We actually did write this for East Downwell. You get ideas, because there were
Mhm.
things that were not relevant in
Mhm.
other towns, or
Yeah.
other towns. Right? So
Good
yeah,
job.
I do suggest making that change. I do agree with you, actually, I should say.
Then I would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then can I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 2515 as amended with a public hearing date of August 14th, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Emily, and
Thank
thank you for
you.
all the work the planning board
Yeah.
does.
Yes.
So for ordinance number 2516, it's another first reading. Linda, can you read that by title, please?
Capital ordinance to authorize the purchase of new equipment for Marion F. Clausen Memorial Park in the Township of East Amwell, County of Hunterdon, State of New Jersey, and the expenditure of $45,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund for the financing thereof.
Al, would you like to explain this ordinance?
Sure, it's for the shade canopy for the kids' playground. This grant, we'll put up the money, we have to show the state the receipts, and then we get reimbursed for it. But this is the first step in finally getting that shade canopy.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
Like-
huge, yeah.
Yeah, and like Al said, it's completely, doesn't cost us anything,
Nope.
so that's great.
Mhm.
So can I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2516 with the public hearing date of August 14th, 2025?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ordinance 2517, Linda, can you please read by title?
An ordinance deleting section 120-7 of the East Amwell Municipal Code and incorporating recycling committee duties into the powers and duties of the East Amwell Environmental Commission.
So this is an ordinance that's, the recycling committee, the environmental commission, also the liaisons for both those committees have discussed. I think if we've talked about it's hard to find volunteers sometimes, and these two committees had many overlapping members who are all great volunteers. And obviously, they kind of touch on the same subjects, recycling and environmental commission. Because the environmental commission is a state mandated organization, they basically will be absorbing the recycling committee. I don't expect much to change. Nothing's going to change in regard to what we offer as a town or anything like that. It'll just make the meetings at one time, and hopefully just make things a little more streamlined for the town. So with that, can I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2517 with a public hearing date of August 14th, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And thank you for your work on that, Frank. I appreciate it. Moving on to consent agenda. Just looking it over. There's a couple things on here in regards to bid thresholds and purchasing procedures. Those are state mandates that just changed, so we have to pass them as part of the township. That's nothing we've done, it's just the state's mandating it. So, can I have a motion to approve resolutions 25101 through 25106?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Ms. Castor Bloom?
Yes.
Ms. Enton?
Yes.
Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Mr. Dendis?
Yes.
Moving on to other resolutions. Resolution 25107, this is a resolution endorsing the housing element and fair share plan adopted by the planning board, and I'm gonna toss that over to Bev.
Sure, at the last planning board meeting on June 17th, our housing element and fair share plan was presented and adopted by the planning board. That plan included, our need to possibly rehabilitate, 4 units and provide prospective need shares of 44 units. The 44 units were addressed by a combination of credits from the 3rd round and a new overlay zone. So that plan was submitted by the June 30th deadline, and now we have to follow up by the township committee needs to pass this resolution,
Okay.
just to rubber stamp it for the court.
Okay. Thanks, Stu. Al, any questions or
No,
comments?
no
Okay.
questions.
Um,
Good job, Bev.
Yeah, thanks, Bev. So can I have a motion to approve resolution 25107?
So moved.
Wait, yeah. Second.
All in favor?
Got the wrong number.
Aye.
Ms.
Anyone-
Castor Bloom?
Yes.
Ms. Enton?
Yes.
Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Mr. Dendis?
Yes.
So resolution 25108, this is a resolution authorizing the application to the New Jersey Clean Energy Program Community Energy Planning Grant Program. This is one of the grants we just ratified, and that I worked on with Dante. It would give up to $10,000 to towns in New Jersey to work on clean energy, and they have a lot of different options of what we can use it for. New Jersey Sustainability has a really good outline of what we can do and everything, and they're the ones that encouraged us to apply. So we're going to apply for it and see if we get the $10,000 grant. It can look into things like EV chargers, making the municipal building a little more clean energy friendly. And it looks at like what the town does with emissions and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. So can I have a motion to approve resolution 25108?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Castor Bloom?
Yes.
Ms. Enton?
Yes.
Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Mr. Dendis?
Yes.
Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business?
Yep, I do.
Yes. Is it Revolution 250?
Yep, resolution 250, so, shocking. So, had a meeting with the county last Saturday, June 27th of next year. We're gonna have a cemetery tour. More details will be provided. This coming Sunday, I'm gonna meet with my subcommittee at Clausen House, and we're gonna discuss some other things, but we're heading in the right direction. And like I mentioned before, September 19th, we're gonna have the Liberty Pole erected at Clausen Park. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have some reenactors, per se, but I don't know, I'm excited. So that's one. And then secondly, I received an email from West Amwell Construction, so I'm just gonna read it. Final site visit was conducted by the construction office, and this is regarding 78 Rocktown Road. To ensure compliance of the above property in East Amwell, the owner has taken all necessary steps as requested Therefore, at this time, the violation issued has been closed and all matters have been resolved. The demolition permit is also now closed and certification of approval has been issued. So, thank you for the residents for bringing that up and me bugging West Amwell, but that seems to be resolved. That's it.
Great.
Right,
Yeah.
I have one too.
Okay.
So the Van Luz Bridge,
Oh.
everyone's favorite bridge. I got an update from the county. They put the project out to bid. It was advertised on May 29th. The contract's supposed to be awarded on July 15th. They told me the anticipated start date, it was gonna be August 1st. Now they're saying the end of August. Substantial completion in April 2026. So I know it's an annoyance for many people. It takes me 5 minutes to, go around the block when I have to go south. It's the opposite for people who are south of the bridge and have to go north. But, we'll keep bugging them. I asked them to come in the county to come in and do a presentation. And they said not till after the bid was awarded and they have everything lined up with the contractor. So maybe in August we'll get them to come in.
Maybe.
But I would like them to, come in. They sent me an email with the plans attached, so I can send that to Linda that we could put on the website so people, can see the plans. But I had asked them to come in and bring their big drawings, and they were like, not yet. So that's the update. We'll keep nudging.
Does substantial completion mean like
I
drivable?
don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. They said they would work really hard to limit any closures on Van Luz and Backbrook
Oh,
while
why
they
start
do
now? Yeah.
the construction. So I guess that means you're not going to be able to, at some point, you're not going to be able to go from Van Luz down Backbrook
Oh.
because they are widening that whole area.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for, staying on top of them because,
It's
a lot
been
of committee members have, this has been going on a long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not the easiest to get information from the county about it and what they're doing and stuff. So thank you for staying.
Yeah, I mean,
on it.
it wasn't a smooth process because the bridge construction project, their plan was to close the bridge when they were ready to do construction,
Yeah,
but it was damaged.
yeah.
And then the bridge was closed and no one was gonna fix it
Mm-hmm.
when it was gonna be replaced.
Yeah. Well, hopefully then, April 2026, we'll be looking out.
Sad.
It'll
be
be a
ready.
birthday present for me.
Yeah, there you go. And just to be clear with your revolution stuff, that's all in 2026?
Correct.
Nothing's happened this
Nope.
September?
Nope.
Okay.
2026.
Is there any other new business? Okay, seeing no other new business, I'm gonna move on to the approval of the bills. Can I have a motion to approve the July 10th, 2025 bills of the evening?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Casper Bloom?
Yes.
Ms. Enton?
Yes.
Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Mr. Dendis?
Yes.
Moving on to administrative reports. Can I have a motion to approve the administrative reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to 22 correspondence. I know my mic we were having technical difficulty in the beginning, but in regards to communications Mayor DePiero has had with Delaware in regards to the road situation, I'd recommend you read the letters that are attached. Moving on to open to the public. We are now open to the public for items on or off the agenda. Yes. It's you, Andrew. Andrew, can you come to I don't think that mic's on. Can you just flip the mic if it's,
Is it on now?
Yep.
Yes? Okay. All right, I will try to make myself heard. I've been complaining about the Republic trash issue for quite some time, and I've been to a couple recycling depots. I found quite a few people who are concerned about this completely arbitrary and capricious billing. And I wrote a letter for the VIP, which I'll just read into the record because it's a good summary. The stories about Republic's billing policies keep getting worse. 2 Republic reps and 2 East Amwell Republic customers have told me the same thing. The longer you are their customer, the higher your bill. So residents pay wildly different fees for identical services. I just spoke with a resident whose $300 per quarter residential bill we had already agreed was unreasonable, but this quarter, he tells me it's been increased to over $400. I know another Sauerland resident whose bill is less than $120 a quarter. Then there are the significant and unexplained increases that randomly pop up. And so just as an example, my billing history, for 3 years in a row, 2019, 2020, and 2021, my bill was $90 a quarter. 2022, it went to 127. 2023 went to 141. 2024, 165. And then in 2025, it went to 192. So in basically about 5 years, it went from $90 to $190 with no change, you know, and whatever. I was hoping we could gather enough residents to either persuade a competitor to start serving East Amwell as competition to Republic, or perhaps persuade Republic to develop a more equitable billing system. But we did have the gathering here on Tuesday, June 24th, but only 4 residents attended. Ironically, just the day before, I received a notice that Republic was crediting my account with $238. I think they realized that I was attempting some sort of a challenge. Part of the reason for this was perhaps that not enough people were aware of it, because I have run into people since then that were very disappointed and said they didn't know about it. But I know there were a lot more than 4 who've expressed an interest. I made a list of about 40 names of people on Nextdoor and on the East Amwell Facebook page who complained. But 5 people are not enough to force some sort of accommodation by Republic, so I'm regretfully giving up for now. So my question is, if we are going to ever try to pursue this more, is there any way we can inform more residents? For example, I understand tax bills are about to be sent out, and maybe it's too late, or maybe this is not something that's appropriate for the Township Committee to do, but maybe, you know, in behalf of the Recycling Committee and the Environmental Commission, maybe put in some kind of a notice of another meeting or something, I don't know. Also, several of our neighboring municipalities, Raritan Township and Hopewell Township, not the borough, but the township, have residents paying individually for trash pickup. And many of them are Republic customers, and at least some of them also object to the arbitrary rate increases. So there may even be a way at some point that we can advocate and, you know, assemble even a bigger protest involving other townships. So that's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I don't know a lot more than that, but.
No, I mean, thank you for your, you know, attempt and work on it. I mean, where we live, all we get, you know, up in the mountains, only Republic, we don't have any other options, so it's hard. And if anybody has any ways that they think we can get information out to residents better, I am all for it, because, you know, we do the email blast, we do the text messages, website posting, and everything, so, and, you know, letters are expensive, yeah.
Maybe when is the tax bill going out? Is it pretty soon, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Pretty.
Wait, I mean, we don't have the tax rate yet, so we
Yeah.
can't print the bills until we have that, but probably within the next 3 weeks or so.
And
Yeah.
is it too late to get?
And it goes, you know, depending on what we mail out and stuff, it goes by weight of envelope and everything too. You know, we try to really condense it as much as possible so it's not costing as much money. I'd have to see where we are with that and stuff. That's a question for Dante.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if there is a way to put a notice in, I know there are a lot of people that are upset.
Yeah, well, yeah,
But I think, you know, despite the fact that we did, you know, I was at the recycling depot with my big sign that
Mhm.
said Trash Republic. It was funny because Mike Petrus, he thought my sign said Trash the Republicans. He said, no, you really can't have that sign here. And I showed it to him and I said, no, I'm referring to the Republic Trash Company, not to the Republican Party. And he knows where my head is at.
yeah.
Anyway. All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Andrea.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in the public? Mr. Wolf?
Rick Wolf, 21 Rymerson Road. We were chuckling back there because of Mike's responses, the way they came through. It was just cracking us up, so we weren't chuckling at you. But that's not why I came up.
Okay.
The grant, the $170,000 grant, to say that that was a home run would be a gross understatement. That's a grand slam. I commend you, all of you, for getting that $170,000 grant. The infrastructure around the municipal building has been in disrepair for years. We can't just fund $170,000 out of our budget. That would result in a significant tax increase. So people are just slapping Band-Aids on it just to try to keep it safe, but it really does need to be properly fixed. It is so good that you got that grant, and I just want to congratulate you. That is absolutely terrific. Thank you for making the efforts, and thank you for making the efforts for the other grants. All of this is money in the residents' pockets, and people need that money in their pockets right now. We have a lot of residents who are kind of going paycheck to paycheck and sacrificing things, and they don't need a tax increase. So the efforts are much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was pretty excited about that 170,000. Anybody else in the public? Seeing no one further, I'd like to close to the public without objection. Being no further business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
we adjourn the meeting at 7:40 p.m.
Aye.
Short and
Thank you.
Aye.
Can't, are we off?